everyone. We are Group 3, and we are going to talk about millennials. I am Oscar. This is Chung, Charles, and Troy. So, millennials. There are no precise dates for the there are no precise dates for when the generation of millennials start or end, but most researchers and commentators use dates between the early 1980s and the year 2000 to identify millennials. So basically, anyone between the ages of 18 to 34 can be considered a millennial. That includes almost everyone in this class today. Almost everyone. So the millennials make up the largest and the most diverse generation in America. There are roughly 74 million millennials in the U.S., including 6.3 million in Texas alone. As the previous generation of baby boomers retire, the millennials will have a profound effect on the economy. They will spend more on new technology. They will spend more on new goods and services like cars and homes, and they will become the main breadwinners for their families. But some of their distinct characteristics also mean their full impact will be delayed until much later. For example, the millennials tend to be highly educated, but they are also burdened by high student loans. I'm pretty sure you guys can all relate to that. They are also waiting longer to buy a home, to buy a car. They are waiting longer to marry, to have kids, and many of them still live with their parents. So you have this big generation, even bigger than the baby boomers now, who have the potential to have a positive impact on the economy by their by how much they spend on the economy every year. But as I have said, their overall impact has been limited. If you look across the world and take a look at Japan, you see that their economy is struggling, and one of the reasons is that their population is not only aging, but it's also declining. So we have to make sure here in America we don't limit our millennials' purchasing power and make sure that they can have a full impact on the economy. So if you look at the economy, we see that the younger millennials between the ages 18 to 25 entered the job market during the recession. This complicated their efforts to find jobs and postponed their peak purchasing power. Unlike the previous generations, the millennials had to face a tough climb of the economic ladder. Estimates of the millennials' purchasing power vary widely, but the U.S. Chamber of Commerce report puts their annual spending at $200 billion, which is just a fraction of the 1.2 trillion U.S. Hispanic consumer market. The unemployment rate for millennials is also much higher than for any other age group. Last year, 5 million millennials were out of work, including 350,000 in Texas. So far, the millennials have been an economic grab than a driver, but this could change as the economy and the employment opportunities are continuing to improve. So I'll pass it on to Troy, who will talk about the employment aspects of millennials.
Appreciate it. Alright, so as many of you know, over the past decade or so, millennials have really been struggling with the unemployment rate. You can see it's really had a bad negative effect of the economy, and the economy's low, and the recession. And we can see that right head on with the unemployment rate here. Ages 20 to 24 millennials have actually had to experience a 10% unemployment rate over recent years, and 5.5% of millennials aged 25 to 34 have experienced unemployment. Both are millennials, both do experience the economic downfall at times, even though the younger group does seem to iterate it a little bit more, but for obvious reasons, the age gap there, as well as education reasons. However, with that said, I would not, and also this does not pertain to the people who have not applied for unemployment, and also the people who've had to settle for jobs that they overqualify for. person with a degree and working at Starbucks or maybe Walmart, any retail store, or even fast food, so that I would even raise the percentage there a little more in those standards. However, even though I said this, I would not dismiss getting an education. If I can remember correctly, statistics, I think, were a millennial coming out of college with a college degree, obviously, I think they're able to accumulate around 45 grand compared to someone with just a high school diploma, and that ranges around 28 grand. So big significance there, and there's still incentive there to get education. And with that said, obviously, the millennials' overall household income has decreased, and that is really, as Steve said, limited their purchasing power, and it's really taught them how to really kind of start to cut down and embrace frugality, which isn't always 100% wrong. And another fact is a lot of millennials are having to do and learn new strategies to really learn how to invest and plan for their retirement, their 401ks and pension plans. So that's very interesting to see how that all comes into play later on in the future. Now, talking about the internship side, it's a little interesting. Nowadays, we actually have people starting to pay to do internships. That just really shows you how desperate the economy is and how competitive the job market is. I was doing a little bit of research over in the UK. There was an offer for investment bankers internship where they had to pay around £5,500 just an internship for 2 months. That's roughly around 8 grand. I'm sure the employers don't mind that, but just for the experience, that was the employer's cop out, really, saying, well, at least you get the experience. So you see how competitive the markets really are in that aspect. And the funny thing is, the 3 points I have, even the people who have experienced unpaid internships, they really don't see any significant growth or anything out of it right out of college or when they get a job. They haven't had any significant advantage over their counterparts who don't obtain internships. The average annual salary is around the same. It's around staggered. Those who have not had an internship and those who have. So that's a little interesting fact there. And number 2, a lot of people are married. They can't afford to work for free. So I mean, a lot of these people, they're already having to hold down 1, 2, maybe even 3 jobs on top of the internship just to get by and really pay for everyday, today living expenses. And this in turn has really created struggle and fury into millennials. And so to combat that, they're really trying to challenge the legality of it all. So that's interesting to see where that'll all go in the future. Now I'm going to pass it on to Tom and he'll give you a little more backstory about the legality of it all and what they plan on doing.
So, without the applicable reasons, why do people take on unpaid internship? How many of you in this room have ever taken on an unpaid internship? I was on the same boat as well. I took on an unpaid internship when I was in a company when I was in Vietnam. I work as a document translator. I translate documents from Vietnamese to English and vice versa. And I do it because I want to get experience and training. Nowadays, you can't really get a full-time job, without any kind of prior experience. Employers wouldn't hire you if you don't have anything on your resume. So we are stuck in a paradox. Like this picture right here, in order to remove the scissors from the pack, we have to use the scissors to cut the table ties, tiny scissors. Similar to, if you want experience to get a job, but you also need a job to get experience. That's why people are so inclined to get an unpaid internship. Another reason why people are taking on an unpaid internship is because of colleges. Some colleges require them to have an internship in order to graduate. I know that my major ITS required an internship to graduate. So, but some colleges are prohibiting interns from receiving paid, so that's why they settle for unpaid internship. They also settle for unpaid internship because they fear breaking status quo. They fear that they might be blacklisted from their career path if they stand up and fight or sue for unpaid internship. So now I will move on to the legal issues of unpaid internship. There are many organizations and campaigns that is fighting to eradicate unpaid internship, such as Fair Pay Campaign and unpaid intern lawsuit. There's been 26 lawsuits five, again, the companies such as Atlantic Research, NBC Universal, um, Procter Media. So we're going to take a look at how the current law is defining unpaid internship. Well, unpaid internship is only lawful when it is an educational training program. If the employer has to hire another employee to work the part that the unpaid intern does, the unpaid intern is an employee and are entitled to compensation from the company. However, there's still not the law in the public sector is not concrete, and there are loopholes that organization can get through, like non-profit organization can call their unpaid intern volunteers, so they don't have to pay for them. But from the backlash from the communities and from all the lawsuits, companies are slowly changing their policies regarding unpaid interns. Um, Companies such as NBC Universal or magazine The Nation are trying to change and trying to pay all the interns. And now I will pass it to Troy.
Thank you, Doug. So for housing, millennials are the first generation to see home prices fall. Therefore, millennials are more afraid for buying houses. Nationally, for first-time home buyers, there are 27% this year that are first-time home buyers compared to 40% in 2007. And currently, the average price, the average age for the home buyers is 45 in Texas, which is kind of out of Generation Y or millennials. So, as of now, a big problem is millennials are currently living with their parents, and 30% of all millennials live with their parents currently. So that is 22 million nationally and 1.9 million currently in Texas right now. And the reason why they're doing that is because of employment, income, and student debt issues. A lot of millennials now have to face the problem of student debt because who here has student debt? I do as well. And like they have to deal with that, and the problem about that of millennials not having any houses is that they cannot build on home equity and benefit off home appreciation, and that will be a problem for later. For the future, despite all these struggles, millennials are oddly optimistic. 56% of millennials are they say that they are not happy where they are now, but 88% of them say that they will be in the future. And I thought that was pretty interesting. Currently, we are the most educated generation, and we're still having to deal with student debt. But in the future, they say that we will benefit from that because we're more educated, as Troy said before. We'll benefit later on as the economy improves. And another future thing to talk about is marriages. Millennials are less likely to marry nowadays thanks to all the economic issues at hand. 26% of all millennials are married compared to what you see in this graphic right here where you see Gen X, the baby boomer generation, and silent generation. You can see there are significantly higher amounts of marriages between. And I don't think that's just around like economic issues. I would say like times are changing, so people see different gender roles differently nowadays, and that will affect how relationships will be. But the great thing about this all is that millennials are more likely to give back to their community now. Even though that's hard to quantify, according to the article, it says that more people nowadays are more willing to give back because we come through tough, economic times. And lastly, millennials will provide more stronger networks because the thing about us is that we are literally the most connected generation in human history. Period. Like this is thanks to like Facebook, Twitter, and now LinkedIn. And thanks to this will surely affect future businesses and like how they will process.
Give him a round of applause. Great.